Hi, and welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore, founder of foodtrucktraining.group. Someone asked me what I thought about the future of the food industry for the next 5 years. I was kind of taken aback. No one's ever asked me that before. So today I'm going to share my thoughts with you guys on what I think the future might hold. First, let me say predictions are fun to make, but they often miss the mark. So I'm probably going to try to stay more on trends than actual predictions. The food truck industry is going to continue to attract new owners, especially after the fallout from COVID and all the spending habit changes. These newbies are going to saturate some markets to the point where it's going to start weeding out the weaker players. So keep that in mind. If you're teetering on not being profitable or you're not giving the best service, there's going to be some new people come into your market that's going to push you to either be better or they're going to push you out of business. And then there's going to be other markets that will actually be oversaturated. And that's going to hurt the unprepared but profitable businesses. So these are people that are already making money, but because of the oversaturation that they're unprepared to handle, they'll get hurt. There is a defense against competitive intrusion. It's something all owners should prepare for before it's too late, because it's going to happen. And there are things you can do to defend your business against that. It's not 100% defense, because your guests are always going to be fickle and go wherever they feel like the best food or the best service for that particular day is, or their taste just might be wanting tacos and all you sell is burgers. But you can defend against competitive intrusion by doing the things we talk about all the time, and that is your quality, service, cleanliness, and your community. The community is the biggie. The quality, service, and cleanliness your standards should be better than everybody else in your area. How you handle your community, which is not only the people on your social media and your guests that come to see you frequently, it's also your standing within your local civic community in your local town. You want to be the go-to person that the schools come to and say, hey, can you help us raise money? And remember, helping raise money is not just a donation. I saw somebody today complaining about they don't donate. So I wrote his name down, and I imagine that he will not be open within the next year, if not 2 years. And the reason I say that is when you become a leech to your community, people recognize that, and they don't care how good your food is. They see your personality as negative. They see your personality as someone they do not want to be around, because you don't care about anything but yourself. So when you have competitive intrusion, if you've already got a strong community built up, those people will continue to support you. Yes, they may go try out the new folks, but then they'll come back and tell you, hey, I tried them out and this was horrible and they were slow and this, and they will help you to get better. But if you don't have that in place when a new competitor opens up, it makes a world of difference. Food trucks present guests with food choices that are really not often part of the normal food scene in a town. And they have unique concoctions sometimes. They'll have a hamburger with a pork chop on top of it, or a hamburger with chicken on it, or deep fried macaroni and cheese disc. Something to make it different, something that people wouldn't get in another restaurant, and something people certainly wouldn't make for themselves at home. Now, here's what you got to also consider if you're thinking about getting into this business. Restaurants are committing considerable resources to developing smaller footprint units. Those units are increasingly becoming drive-through only, curbside only, and delivery only. The dining rooms are shrinking or just being completely eliminated. And what they're doing is coming up with systems where they have a 2-story fast food restaurant where the kitchen's actually on the second story, and then the cars pull underneath what would be the first story to place the orders, and the food comes down from the second story. So that makes the footprint be much smaller, so they can get into smaller parking lots. They can get in for a less expense to build this smaller building. So that means they'll be popping up in places that they normally had not been able to go, say 5 years ago. Now, here's another little thing that's coming up that will impact your business. There are new franchise brands that are being developed that are complete ghost kitchen concepts. What a ghost kitchen is like your commissary, where you guys go to wash your dishes and maybe even cook a little bit of food. Once you guys leave, that kitchen may sit empty with no one doing anything in it. So the commissary owner will want a ghost kitchen to come in, and that ghost kitchen could be any franchise brand that again spends most of the day in the commissary kitchen doing all the cooking and packaging food and selling food directly from the commissary without benefit of a dining room or pickup window or curbside service, because all of their sales are done on the internet, so they don't need any cashiers or anybody to greet guests, and it's done through delivery drivers, Grubhub and Uber Eats and all of those. So that's how a ghost kitchen, or what a ghost kitchen is. Now these brands are coming up with complete lines of food, creating all the marketing, creating all the materials that a business owner would need to basically just go in and rent a commissary kitchen, which now is going to make your commissary space more valuable and probably drive those costs up. And then this new franchisee doesn't have to have all the employees. All he's got to do is have the menial labor of the cooks. And as long as they can make the food look the way the pictures look and send it out, they don't have to worry about teaching people how to count money or teaching people how to be friendly or any of those things. It's just the order comes in, make the sandwich, send it out, delivery guy comes, picks it up. So that's a ghost kitchen. Chains are exploring and they're purchasing and they're opening their own food trucks, and they're expanding the reach of their restaurants. So if you have a restaurant on one side of town and there's not either the property availability or the guest count to support having a whole new restaurant go in there, they can buy a food truck and send it to that area and then pick up incremental sales to benefit the home base restaurant. So if you have a restaurant that's doing, say, $30,000 a week, and they can get that food truck to generate another 10 in a part of town that they can't serve from their brick and mortar, that's a 30%, 33% increase in sales. That's a big deal. So yeah, they're going to buy food trucks and do that. And what they'll do better than most of our mom and pop food trucks is they limit the menu. They pay attention to the things that I talk about. Limited menu. They run with as few people as possible on that truck with that limited menu, so they get out, sell a bunch of food, and then get back and replenish from the restaurant. So basically the food trucks have less equipment and they become more of a mobile steam table per se, where they get the food that has really good hold times, send it out, get the people to buy it, go back and replenish. And then there are other concepts that do the full food truck, like Waffle House has full food trucks, fully equipped food trucks. But again, the idea is they're going places where their brick and mortars aren't. So this branded competition, because they are recognizable brands, is going to hurt definitely all the weak food trucks in the area and probably some of the more stable ones, because they won't be prepared for the competitive intrusion. And that brings us to the future of supplies and prices. As more of the free money that the government has thrown at what we know is a medical problem evaporates, we're going to also see a change in employment levels. There's been a number of studies done on why aren't people going back to their original careers? Why aren't all of the restaurant workers going back to the restaurant they used to work for? The states that have already dropped the extended benefits, like Florida and Texas, they still have massive labor shortages in a lot of the big cities. These past unemployed folk, they're creating their own new businesses because they've been given so much money that they didn't need to spend to survive. So they've pooled it and bought equipment for various businesses, not necessarily a food truck. But if you want to look up in a business that is exploding, look up sublimation printing. That's a process where ink is superheated and then applied to different materials. Coffee mugs, for instance, is a popular one. They have stainless steel cups that are coated and have all different kind of neat designs and stuff on them. It got to the point earlier this summer, there were so many people getting into that business that they couldn't find the blanks to be able to print on. So there were no cups, there were no mugs. T-shirts suddenly became a rarity because that has to have a certain polyester count. So the polyester shirts you couldn't find in Walmart. Polyester hats you couldn't find anywhere. Just look up some of those groups on Facebook. Some of them have 150, 200,000 members. And the majority of those members are asking business questions. What do you guys sell? How do I package them? How much does shipping cost? So that's 200,000 people competing with each other just on one group. Because remember, all their sales are not in-person sales like ours. Their sales are on the internet. So there's a lot of new business owners that used to be blue collar that have said, nope, I am going to be my own business owner. So we're going to see lots of shortages in supplies, lots of shortages in equipment, because these particular workers used to be the blue collar workers that were picking the food out of the gardens. Or the farms. They're the people that used to process the meat or cut the vegetables or do a lot of the things that created the supplies that we had to sell. And now since they aren't there to work, that means we're going to be looking at more supply and demand driven pricing. As the supply decreases and the demand increases, prices go up. So we're going to continue to see that for a while. And it's going to take a good amount of time for all that free money to dry up and all these budding business owners to fail. And some of them will go back to their original job. Some of them will try some other new business. But it's going to take, 2, 4, maybe even 5 years for that to happen before things get back to kind of being normal. But also consider a major change in the world could create a major impact on any of the things I just talked about. And that major change in the world is always a single heartbeat away. I teach and train people to win in the food truck industry, but I'm also a student of the industry. I live and breathe food service. I want to teach you guys how to succeed. Take the first step and get on my schedule for a no obligation call. Ask all the questions you have. See if this business and my training is a good fit for you. There's a link in the description for you guys to be able to get on my calendar. Even with all the potential negatives that I mentioned, I'm very bullish on starting a food truck business. The key is to do it right. As Zig Ziglar says, you were born to win, but to be the winner you were born to be, you have to plan to win, you have to prepare to win, then and only then can you expect to win. That's why I spend all my time talking to you guys every day. I want you guys to win. That's why I've written all the books. That's why I have developed the Facebook group that we have. And that's why I am so particular on how that group is ran. I want you guys to win. Thank you guys so much for listening. I certainly hope you're finding the information useful for your food truck business. If you guys are enjoying the podcast, please consider hitting the support button or follow the links in the description and offer any kind of support you possibly can. It means the world to me, any support that I get. If you guys love being around like-minded positive people, join our Facebook group. It is called Food Truck Training. You're going to find a whole bunch of information there. You're going to find a whole bunch of people that are going to be very supportive, very positive, and willing to help you succeed. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll have a whole new set of topics next week. Y'all have a great weekend.